Today I will discuss the Baptists due to their importance to America. From the Baptists, we get early ideas of the separation of church and state, the broad inclusion of African Americans into Protestantism, and the establishment of some of the first colleges for Protestant ministers in the Americas. The first Baptists were formed when a group led by John Smith fled England into Holland. While in Holland, they came into contact with the Dutch Mennonites, or the Anabaptists. The Anabaptists were in the habit of practicing adult baptism based on a sincere confession of faith. John Smith agreed that this doctrine was established in the New Testament. So, in 1609, Smith baptized himself along with his followers. While Smith wanted to continue a deeper relationship with the Mennonites, the majority of his followers would break off and return to England. Before leaving Holland, the Baptists issued a declaration stating the beliefs that local churches should manage their own businesses, magistrates should not be given power over church affairs, and baptism, or washing with water, is an outward manifestation of dying to sin, and therefore in no wise appertaineth to infants. Back in England, they would establish their first Baptist church on English soil in 1612. The Baptists would continue to grow during the Cromwellian age in England, and he would allow them a great amount of freedom during that time. The largest group of Baptists were called the General Baptists because they believed that Christ's death was equal for all. Another group that formed were the Particular Baptists, because they believed that his death was only for those who accepted him. The First Baptist congregation in America formed in 1639 with the help of Roger Williams in Rhode Island. While Williams would only remain a Baptist for a short time, he would help establish them in the New World. Many of these Baptists held the belief of Williams that the church should not be governed by the state. While most of the Baptists in Rhode Island were General Baptists, the ones that settled in Pennsylvania, another homeland for Protestant dissenters from the Catholic Church, from the English Church, mostly the Welsh, were particular. Immersion, or the complete dunking for baptism, would become a staple of the Baptists, both general and particular. They would get this idea from the Mennonites. Both Baptists and Methodists drew great numbers of African Americans to their worship. The ideas of freedom and salvation were very seductive to slaves during the time. Specifically, during the first two Great Awakenings, Baptist numbers increased tremendously. Also during the time after the Civil War, many black Baptist churches began popping up all over the country. By the time of the Civil War, Baptists would be staffing the majority of the nation's higher learning institutions. Baptists, along with many other denominations, would form their own seminaries to train ministers. While this only made up a small percentage of the total preachers in America, it kept alive the idea of a trained ministry, and it allowed for a place of intellectualism in a time where not much was found. As you can see, the Baptists laid many foundations for early America. From their roots in Holland to their establishment in Rhode Island, they brought many key ideas for the early republic with them.